What's going on, Trojan fans? Black Chen here from Light the Torch podcast, coming to you with a video today on Tony White, the defensive coordinator for Nebraska. So he's just recently started getting some smoke coming towards USC, saying that he may be the next defensive coordinator. Uh, it sounds like things with Jim Leonard may have fizzled out. Not quite sure what happened there, but right now Tony White is currently trending right now when it comes to USC defensive coordinators here, and we're going to go ahead and talk about him and see uh, what he brings to the table and what he's done in the past with other teams as defensive coordinator here. So let's get going here. Who is Tony White? Tony White played football at UCLA, so he does have some West Coast ties, which is something that we, as Trojan fans, would like to see. We want to lock down the Colorado or the California area, so we don't want them leaving to the team up north, Oregon. Ugh. We just want to try to lock down California because we have so much talent out here that they should not be going anywhere. They've probably grown up watching USC football, so we need them to stay playing USC football. So hopefully he can recruit well and he can recruit California. And so he also has Big Ten ties, so that's definitely a plus. So, yeah. He was DB's coach for San Diego State in 2009, DB's coach and passing game coordinator at ASU 2018, but was promoted to defensive coordinator in 2019, defensive coordinator at Syracuse in 2020, and then became defensive coordinator on December 8th, 2022. I say December 8th because that's my birthday, so gotta put that out there as well. So, but yeah, we'll go into some stats here when he was at Syracuse, and then also for this year when he's the defensive coordinator for Nebraska. So yeah, so 2021, 2022, rushing for Syracuse defense was 26th with 126 yards per game. Passing yards allowed 26th. In the nation for 204 yards per game. Scoring defense 66th, 26.3 points per game. Red zone defense not the greatest, 96th in the nation, but then total defense was 19th, 330 yards per game. So that's definitely good, especially for Syracuse. I never really thought Syracuse is really a football team. It's more of a basketball team. So, and for the most part, like in recent history, I felt like Syracuse has never really been a top program, but it looks like Tony White got their defense rolling for the most part for that 2022 season. So that's good. And then on to this season when at Nebraska, coming over for with Matt Rule. Rush defense was eighth in the nation, 92.9 yards per game. Passing yards allowed, 41st or 41st in the nation. I don't know why I put 41th. Whatever. 210 yards per game. Scoring defense, 17th in the nation, 18.2 points per game. And then red zone defense, better than ours, 53rd. And then total defense was 14th in the nation, 303 yards per game. So all of that sounds great. It definitely was a lot better than last year's defense for Nebraska. Their defense for last year, their total defense was 99th in the nation. That's horrible. 414 yards per game, which sounds like USC's kind of season. Scoring defense 76th, and let's see here. Rush defense was 108th. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that anymore because that's just it's just bad compared to what they did this year. So that's definitely a plus. It looks like he can turn around defenses. So we'll take a look at Syracuse's defense prior to Tony White getting there as well. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into some reactions on Twitter. So we'll see what people on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, how everyone's reacting. All right, here we are on Twitter. Let's see what when you search Tony White, what's everyone saying here? Lots of chatter emerges on Nebraska's Tony White as USC's next defensive coordinator target. Yep, you're right. I'm hoping Tony White can come in and this defense into one of the best in the country, but that's hard to do in 1 year. Hey, he showed that he's been able to make improvements for them because Nebraska, the previous few years, have not been the greatest. So, yeah, he turned their defense into a pretty prominent one. So, 14th in the nation. So, got to give it to him. Trojan football says, "Give me Tony Whitehead, some of those big boys." So yeah, I think I was seeing something where their nose tackle was what 325 pounds. Like, yeah, we definitely need those kind of that kind of size on our defensive line here. USC fan, if Tony White is indeed the next DC, no more playing 270. Yep, just what I was just talking about. But instead, have 330 plus D lines looking at a 3.35. Yeah, he does run a 3.35, which is what Alex Grinch ran. But if you run it properly, if you have the right personnel, it can work. So, yep, sign me up. F the speed D. Yeah. Let's see. Went from Jim Leonard to Tony White. Yeah. My entire feed switched from Jim Leonard to Tony White in 5 minutes. Yep, basically. So this is what I was talking about here. So Syracuse's defense under Babbers, I'm assuming was their defensive coordinator prior to Tony White getting there. 464 yards per game. Yeah, that's horrible. All this looks like how USC's defense has been playing this whole the last 2 years under Alex Grinch. So, and then we already went over this here, but yeah, this like comparing this to this when he gets there, that's definitely a good sign. I would like to say it's a good sign that he turned a school's defense, like Syracuse's defense, who, like I said before, I never really thought of as a football school. He made their defense look good, and he got that defense playing well. I'm assuming that they using the same defensive scheme, so it can work. It can work. It worked this year. I think the video I'm going to show about Urban Meyer breaking down their offense is that, or their defense is that. There was only 3 teams that scored over 20 points, which was CU, Michigan, and I can't remember the other team. But yeah, if you only have 3 teams that scored over 20 points on you, and the rest have scored less than that, that's definitely a plus, and that's what Trojan fans would like to hear, because we had so many teams that scored 20 plus on us this year, including Cal, including UCLA, who couldn't even score more than 7 points on their last game against Cal. So, yeah. Let's see what else is going on here. Tony White over Alex Grinch. Yep. Husker Nation says Nebraska better not effing let Tony White leave to USC to be the DC. So it definitely sounds like Nebraska Husker fans are not wanting Tony White to leave. So that's good. If they don't want their defensive coordinator to leave, that means he's doing something right. We were singing for Alex Grinch to be fired. So yeah. Defensively, Nebraska was 9th in yards per play, 14th total defense. Yeah, we went okay. Yeah, so Colorado, Michigan, and Wisconsin were the only teams to score over 20 points on them. So look for these numbers to potentially get better next season as they have an offense that could stay on the field, play mistake-free, and burn clock for a majority of the game. I wouldn't say we burned the clock, but we definitely are a better offense than Nebraska's offense. So, but yeah, and he was also nominated for a nominee for the Broyles, which is the best assistant in the nation. So we haven't had that in a while. So it definitely looks like he would be a good fit for USC, and I'm sure the USC fans would enjoy that, because if he went to UCLA, he knows the rivalry between USC and UCLA, so that definitely is a plus for us, because it just, like, I know Lincoln Riley tried to help the guys get into the the rivalries and everything like that. Like, but I just feel like having this California inspired or Tony White, who played in the West Coast, he knows USC football, even though he played for UCLA. So yep. Let's see here. Yep, we just went over that. Yeah, here's a quick clip of Tony White. This is just showing how he talks, and it's like it definitely makes me feel comfortable with feeling like he would be a good fit for USC.
And say that I actually don't know how to react to it.
This is in regards to Tony White speaks on his job offers and how Matt Rule responded.
The responsibility he gave to me, I wanted to make sure I do a good job for him. It has nothing to do with me. It's all those guys running around making. I didn't make one tackle this year. I didn't make one sack this year. Those young men perform, and those assistant coaches got them in a position to perform. And so, you work to be in a position like that. But I say this all the time, you handle that after the season. Your name ain't going to be up there if you give up 300 yards rushing and lose this game. You know what I mean? So it's cool and all, but it's cool because Nebraska gets recognized and Coach Rule taking a chance on me gets recognized and the young men playing get recognized. Like, that's cool. Anything good with me is automatic good for Nebraska, good for the players. So that's the way I take that. I've never had.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like a player's coach. He sounds like someone that players would love to play for. So I feel like I could confidently give my stamp of approval. Not that it really means anything, but he wasn't really so much on my radar. I knew of Tony White, and I knew Nebraska did have a pretty decent defense, but looking further into it, I didn't realize how good their defense was this year, especially compared to last year. So let's see. Here is some clips from Urban Meyer breaking down the defensive scheme. So definitely we'll be able to do it better than I can here. So,
Coach, you've seen Nebraska play twice against Minnesota and against Colorado. They gave up 36 points against Colorado. And yet,
that we did too as well.
Why? Yeah, 36 points. That's not the story. That Nebraska defense, I think they're playing great. It's a new scheme, even better than that. It's a well-coached defense. They tackle in space, and they play really hard. New D coordinator, Tony White's done a phenomenal job. Shador Sanders threw the ball for 500 yards a week before. The hottest team in the country, you know what they do? They shut him down in the first half. You know what the score should have been at half? Should have been 0-0. Matter of fact, it should have been 3-0 Nebraska. But, they're turning the ball over on offense. But the defense was playing a hard time.
I can tell you this, I know one person that agrees with everything you just said, and that's head coach Matt Rule and Brent.
Yeah, we'll go into some defense. Defense
3-3-5 defense, and it's making a comeback. 3-3-5 is this 3 down linemen, you got a nose guard, 2 defensive ends. You got the Mike linebacker, you got the center, you got the
look familiar to you.
Then you got the 5 secondary.
This is how it is when it's
why would you go to the
proper.
3-3-5 defense? Number one, the multiplicity of blitzes you can come up with. You've taken it down line, you moved them back. Now you got these 3, add these 2 safeties involved.
If I can recall, we didn't blitz that often.
The second one is take a close look. Former offensive linemen. Offensive linemen want double teams. They don't want single blocks. This forces you, when you play a 0 nose and 2-5 techniques, it forces you to what? Single blocks. So there's no double teams and multiple pressure lines.
Coach, we're going to talk about the pressures, but before we do that, the drop 8.
Correct. Use 5 defense. It's very easy. You can see we get 8 people in coverage. 1, 2, 3 people rush the quarterback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in coverage. The quarterback, Shador Sanders here, he's been programmed for the last 15 years being a quarterback of a 4-man rush and 7 droppers underneath. You can see right here, his brain, he's locked up here because there's an extra dropper underneath. And what I mean by that is watch. Usually there's 4 droppers underneath. What do you see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He panics and he throws the ball and puts his guy in harm's way here.
So it's a combination of pressure when you want and
see, this is how it should look when it's run properly and with the right personnel.
You don't want to drop defense line. You want to drop linebackers.
Coach, we've seen the base, 3 rush, 8 drop. Now let's look at the pressure.
All right, here we go, 3-3-5. The 3-3-5 is still same personnel. You got the 3 down men, the 2 down linemen, 2 defensive ends, nose guard. That's the Will linebacker, that's the Mike, and that's Sam. Once again, the multiplicity of blitzes that you have. And they've been showing this off and on. I was at the game watching this. Looks like a zero coverage blitz. Zero coverage means man coverage, man coverage, man coverage, straight across the board, no safety help. So the quarterback knows that you've got to get this ball out of here fast. And what happens is, as they pressure, they bring all six. At least it looks like all six, but what happens? They're dropping a guy out. So it's actually five-man pressure. The offensive line picks the wrong guy to slide to, and the guy comes free and gets a free hit on the quarterback. There's a risk here. It's zero coverage.
That's the pressure that we should have had on Shedeur. We didn't get too much pressure on Shedeur.
Coach, we looked at the 3-3-5 on tape. We looked at the base. We looked at the pressure. Let's review the base.
Now we're going to see how it's
and I'm
actually
really
supposed
proud
to
of
be
you the way
called.
you drew this like a defensive coach. I didn't know you could do that.
First, again, when I see the 3-3-5, I start shaking. I can't stand this defense. I can't stand playing against it. But a quick review here. The number one reason why people love it, blitz combinations. Number two, no double teams. As you can see, they're all individual blocks. And number three, drop eight. You saw the video earlier. Look how easy it is to drop eight. You got three rushers, normally speaking, you have four. And what happens is when you drop eight,
What's going on here? All right. Well, I'm going to call it right there. So, yeah, this is Tony White's offense or defense. So, with everything that I've presented to you, let me know in the comments down below of what you think of Tony White as a candidate as the defensive coordinator for USC. So, do you think we got our guy? Do you think this will be a good get for USC, or do you think there's someone else that we should look into rather than Tony White? But honestly, I've been pretty impressed with what I've looked into for it. So let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, please give it a like, subscribe. It's free to do that. All you gotta do is just press subscribe, turn that notification bell on for the next time we upload a video, or maybe even go live. We typically go live Thursday or Sundays. It really all depends on what's going on with USC football. But yeah, we'll try to keep you guys updated with all the news and recruiting updates and hopefully defensive coordinator updates. So yeah, until next time, guys, fight on.